Okay, let's just jump right in. We're looking at a situation that is escalating, really by the minute. All eyes are on the United States and Iran, and there's a clock ticking down to a deadline that could be, well, catastrophic.
I mean, you really can't overstate the stakes here. This is a direct warning from US President Donald Trump, posted just hours ago. It's a message that takes this way beyond just a regional conflict. He's framing it as a potential global cataclysm. It just sets this incredibly tense stage for everything that's about to unfold.
And at the absolute center of this crisis is this one single point in time, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's the deadline Trump has given Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, which, is a critical artery for global oil. Absolutely everything hangs on what happens before that clock hits zero.
So the big question is, right, how did we get to this point, staring down the barrel of an ultimatum this severe? This didn't just happen out of the blue. Let's take a quick look at the pattern of threats that led us right to this precipice. And when you look at this timeline, you start to see this really clear rhythm, this pattern of escalation. You see these cycles of these incredibly intense threats, followed by these short little postponements. From a 48-hour warning back in March to a threat to unleash all hell just a few days ago. Each deadline has gotten more and more severe, leading us right here to tonight's final no more chances moment.
So as we've gotten closer to this latest deadline, it's not just talk anymore. The war of words is over. This is officially a shooting war. The threats are now being replaced by actual direct military action from both sides.
And this is a really big move. The U.S. has confirmed it hit military targets on Iran's Kharg Island. Now, this isn't just some random island. It is the terminal for most of Iran's oil exports. It's basically their economic lifeline. U.S. officials were very quick to say they didn't hit the oil infrastructure itself, but the message, it's crystal clear. We can touch your most vital assets whenever we want.
And almost immediately, Iran fires back. This shows you that tit-for-tat cycle we're in perfectly. Iran's Revolutionary Guard announced its own retaliatory strike, claiming they hit a huge petrochemical complex over in Saudi Arabia. They framed it as direct payback, showing everyone that they are more than willing and able to strike at key U.S. allies in the region.
Okay, so we've got military strikes flying back and forth, but what about the diplomacy? Is there any room for negotiation here? Let's look at the official positions and see just how far apart these two sides really are. And here's where you really see the problem. The two sides are just on completely different planets. The U.S., through Vice President J.D. Vance, is basically offering a choice. Path 1, Iran becomes a normal country, rejoins the world. Path 2, continued crippling economic pain. But Iran's IRGC is saying, nope, all restraint is off the table, and they're threatening to expand the war beyond the region if the U.S. crosses their red lines. It's a diplomatic standoff at its absolute most dangerous. And this isn't just about Washington and Tehran anymore. This thing is spreading like wildfire, with sparks just igniting all across the Middle East.
And I mean, just look at the fallout already. It's happening all over the place. Missiles flying toward Israel, deadly strikes in Lebanon, a railway bridge getting hit in Iran right after an Israeli warning, a shooting in Istanbul, even a container ship in the Gulf getting hit by a projectile. The chaos is becoming widespread, and it's pulling the entire region right into its vortex.
Which brings us right here to the final hours. As the whole world is just watching and waiting, you have to wonder, what is the strategic thinking in Tehran? Why continue this defiance when you're facing these overwhelming threats?
This analysis from the BBC's Frank Gardner really hits the nail on the head. He's explaining that Iran is just not in the mood to back down. Its control over the Strait of Hormuz, that is its single most powerful piece of leverage. It's their strongest card. And from where they're sitting, giving that up without a permanent end to this whole conflict, that's just not on the table. So, that brings us right back to this moment. The clock is just ticking relentlessly towards 8 p.m. Eastern. The ultimatums are out there, the strikes have already been launched, and it sure looks like all the diplomatic paths are closed. At the end of the day, the president himself laid out two possibilities: an entire civilization wiped out, or something revolutionarily wonderful. With this deadline just looming, the whole world is left holding its breath, waiting to find out if these final hours are going to bring a devastating war or some kind of 11th hour breakthrough.